is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Guardian Radio Today is brought to you by Bahamar and Printmasters.
And welcome to another edition of Guardian Radio Today with your host, Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. It is a beautiful Wednesday, and I'm happy to be here with you. October 22nd, the time is flying. Today I want to touch on what we know as African Holocaust Month. In lieu of this horrific crime, the death of Lauren Saunders, a pregnant mother of two whose life was snatched away, I want to really just take some time at the beginning of the show to say her name, Lauren Saunders, yes. When I heard about that she had been kidnapped, that was definitely alarming for me, I'm sure it was for any right-thinking person who heard about this missing pregnant lady, right? Mother of two, soon to be mother of three. And oftentimes, and I heard Zhivago Lang say it earlier in his show, you never want to get to the point where you just become so desensitized that you move away from a story like this as if it's just another incident, right? The story is sad all the way around. And oftentimes, we don't know what direction to look in when we see these types of things happening. And so the month of October is also African Holocaust Month, as well as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's also Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well. And so when we look at and where we are as a people, there's a lot of politics in the air right now. There's a by-election that's been scheduled for next month, I think the 24th. And then, of course, there's a general election that's due ideally sometime next year. And a lot of times we focus on the symptoms. Yesterday we had a great show with Brother Tinker, Dr. Tinker, and we highlighted an issue regarding the hospital and the state of the hospital. Today we're finding out that the body of a young lady was found, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if they confirmed it or not, but the lady Lauren Saunders is still missing, and this could possibly be her body. The reality of why it's important to discuss, and sometimes it's a trigger for many people, because we like to have the attitude that we just need to move on, right? We just want to integrate into a society that we feel is going to take us to some financial heaven here on earth. Unfortunately, what we're doing is integrating into a failing society. and we're watching things that would not regularly happen on a regular basis. And so at some point, if we're going to be mature as a people, we're going to have to really slow down and ask the real hard questions as to why the type of mindsets that pervade our communities, that pervade our nation, why do these mentalities exist? And we've talked about this concept of rel cell web, right? 9 areas of people activity. Because if you're going to get down to the actual cause of why people's behavior is the way it is, right? You're going to have to do some unpacking, right? That's not always easy. But I think today we can slow down for Miss Lauren Sanders and her family, because I if this ain't the worst of the worst, I mean, we've already seen, a young child and an older lady murdered, right? Sexually abused, right? And we just seem to just want to keep moving on like this stuff isn't happening. And that's going to point out some of the things that people may not necessarily want to talk about. But I feel that for those people who are patient and are willing to have the hard and honest conversations, that we'll be able to start to move in a direction where we can affect not only this generation, but the generations that are watching us. Because how we respond to these types of incidents ultimately trains the next generation on how they are to respond. And so this is a big deal. This is not just another front page story. This is not just another murder. One murder is too many, right? Unfortunately, we have gotten used to hearing about young black men being gunned down. That's the sad thing. We've gotten so used to that's just like, hearing about this, the score for the game. You understand? You wake up only to find out, another young black man is dead. But now to hear a pregnant lady, a mother of 2, are policymakers brave enough? It's the worst of the worst. Or are we just going to keep kicking the can down the road? I'm going to open the phone lines. I'm going to touch, like I said, this is going to be a conversation within the context of African Holocaust Month, because I really feel it's important that we contextualize it and not just make it a pity session, even though I do feel pity for the family. I'm saying as a nation, we got to have some mature conversations. I see the phone lines are lighting up. I'm going to let some calls through, because I think there are people who may want to pay tribute to this young lady and her family. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and the Family of Violence, 242-300-5720. Of course, in the family, on the Guardian Radio text line, is powered by BTC, and the number is 422-4796. That's 422-4796. Of course, standard text rates do apply. We're also streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com, and we are on Cable Bahamas 969 or BTC Flow Channel 612. Mr. Producer, let's just run to the first call. Let me hear what the nation has to say. Call you live on Guardian Radio today.
Great as usual, brother Uncle. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Good to hear your voice.
Okay, right now, man. The sad reality of life is, right, is that hurt people hurt people. If you dig down deep and check out the people who doing these crimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You won't believe it, right? They are also victims.
Right.
At some point in time in their life, something happened and caused this event. I'll give you the prime example, right? When you have a child, right, and he's a boy,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing you tell the child is, if someone hits you, hit them back.
True.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is, right,
Mm-hmm.
we are groomed into certain things that technically set off certain events. In the hood or urban communities, right,
Mm-hmm.
you know the rule was back in the day,
What it was?
don't show love. Love would cause you get killed.
Wow. Wow.
So after you groom this in generations and generations and generations, right, eventually you develop and you create a core community. And this didn't even start from our generation. This started long prior to us. Remember when me and you the same age, and you might not remember me, right? But I remember you, and I know your real name. But let's just
Yeah. You
forget about that
probably
part,
know me
right?
as Trey.
Yeah,
All right.
right. But
I
in
just
our
got to see
area-
your face. I can't get the voice, but I need to see your
Yeah,
face.
but you know, in our area, right?
Yeah.
We was grown up in certain things where words don't hurt. Sticks and stones may break our bones, but words will never hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Of course. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like I say, we are grown and trained into certain developments, right, that sets off certain events in our lives
Mm-hmm.
that cause certain things.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why things happen.
Yeah.
It happens because we actually groom a society into violence.
That's important what you just said. We can
We
talk
actually
on that.
groom into violence. And the thing is, right, the people who are doing these things, they think is normal.
Right.
You realize that if certain households, right, they see their mothers coming in with different men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you think you grooming your daughters into prostitution?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's what I was saying earlier. You know, there's a generation watching us.
Right,
You
right. And then the
understand?
sad thing is, right, you know what the kids finally found out?
Mm-hmm.
We're hypocrites. The same things we tell them don't do, they watch us do it.
Do what I say, not what.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'll give you a prime example before I go, right?
Yeah.
I told my nephews, don't curse.
Right.
I don't want them curse, right?
Mm-hmm.
The minute I hit the six-leg roundabout, I can't believe this. You know what? This stupid, you know what?
Yeah.
Ooh, Uncle Kais.
Yeah.
Uncle Kais.
You only get curse when you're driving. You gotta be quiet.
You only get Kais when you're driving. We hypocrites.
Yeah.
No one else might say it, right? But we hypocrites, and the secret is out that the children know we're hypocrites.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you said it that way. I want to touch on some of the words of Dr. Amos Wilson after I take a couple of calls. But I really appreciate your sentiments, man.
No problem, Chief.
Thank you so much. Let's run right to the next call, Mr. Producer. Call you live.
Yeah, good afternoon, Uncle. Good afternoon, Bahamas.
Good afternoon, my brother. How you doing, man?
You know, I'm not prepared for no pity party for no perpetrator at this time, you know?
Oh, no. We
it's-
definitely ain't got no pity party
You
for
know,
no perpetrator.
you know,
I feeling
you know.
for the family of that
It's-
young lady right now.
Yeah, but I just want to something, Uncle.
Yeah.
You know, today is a sad day. Someone lost their daughter,
Yeah.
their sister,
Two children, mother.
and now the
everything.
children lost their mother.
Yeah.
You know, but what I would like to see, I'm waiting, because I've been an advocate
Mm-hmm.
over the years for the unborn fetus.
Wow.
You
I
know,
thought about you, I thought
you know.
about you when I heard this story because I remember our
You know,
conversation.
countless of persons would have heard my voice over the airwaves
Yeah.
addressing this same type of issue. Remember we discussed the issue on abortion.
Yeah. Just last week.
When we touched on the doctor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was saying that while I don't support abortion,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know what they arrest the doctor for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I made the same example. I said, when if a pregnant woman is murdered,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how advanced she was at the time of her death in her pregnancy, the unborn fetus does not count.
Right.
That's our law in the Bahamas.
Wow.
So I'm waiting to see the classification, what these clowns in Parliament, what they're going to present. You know, they can't say a homosexual.
Right.
But our laws doesn't regard unborn babies. So I hope that I don't want to see them politicians crying and trying to put on those sympathy face because the election is around the corner. They get enough time now to amend the law to recognize the unborn fetus of these, who just would have become a victim. His life or her life is interrupted.
Yeah.
And we should recognize both murders, not just one. Would you agree with that, Uncle?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're talking about murder, you're speaking about intent. And she's 7 months pregnant, ain't like he didn't know, or whoever killed her didn't know that she was pregnant. So the intent behind harming her would obviously then move to harming the child as well.
We all know if you kill the mother, you're going to kill the child.
Right.
We know that. But he should be charged with double murder, but there's nothing in law to charge him with a double murder. And I've been to basically all the politicians, and particularly the women. Let's hear what those women in Parliament have to say. Let's hear what civil have to say on this. But in memory of many mothers, this is the first incident, we've had several mothers who would have died similar death, faced similar death.
They talk about the pregnant
when
teacher.
They only recognized the mother and not the unborn child. But let's see now what they're going to say and how they're going to classify it so you could see how backward we are and hypocritical we are as a country. And there's enough time now for them to amend this law in memory of this woman and all the other pregnant women who would have died and lost their children. And let's write common sense legislation for once, man.
I'm still waiting for the worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst?
I mean, for them.
The only time you're going to see the worst of the worst is if a politician would have lost their life, or someone who they deem as a part of the status quo, so to speak. But we don't count. I mean, and it seems as if this thing becomes scary because we had some more horrible deaths, murders,
Yeah, I know.
We've had some similar ones. We had a woman, I remember the corner bar lady, the young girl, roll over, they burn her up, roll over her, they do all sorts of things to her. That's just a particular case that went to the Privy Council, and they asked them to write, what is the worst of the worst. But politicians don't really want no death penalty in place, and there has to be a reason for that. You really believe they're trying to protect the common man on the street?
Yeah,
they don't care about the common man. It has to be.
It's hard if we keep kicking this can down the road.
I didn't hear that, sir.
No, I say it's hard to say so if you keep kicking the can down the road.
I mean, look, I pray to God that the final court don't be in the Bahamas because you'll find a lot of people getting hanged around election time.
Lord.
But
that's the thing.
See, our thing is, I don't support the death penalty, ANCU, in its present state.
Right.
Because we have a death penalty in place for men who kill.
Yeah.
But we don't have any. We don't have any in place for women. I remember Michelle Woodside, and there was another lady who was charged, who was sentenced to death, and they basically caused this type of relaxation in our laws towards. Because I wanted to know what were they going to do with those women. Eventually, their life, that phase of it was commuted, and they were able to serve out time, and maybe they're on the streets today. I don't know. But my thing is, we need to move towards lethal injection, whereas we make it gender neutral. We'll be able to put man and woman to sleep. But the last woman to be hung in the Bahamas, I think it was in 1901. We don't hang women in the Bahamas. You'll hear Sandra and Patterson, them, and all them other women. They'll be marching all over the place. That ain't gonna happen. But
even if they kill him,
I don't hear that.
Even if they murder us,
they're not gonna push for no death penalty for no women in the Bahamas.
Wow.
That ain't gonna happen. But if you to hang a woman, you don't let her just give birth again. That ain't gonna happen. But we need a more humane way of putting these people to sleep. And the only thing that we can come up with is lethal injection. But then again, the politicians don't want no death penalty. Maybe they may have done some treasonous act, may warrant the death penalty. Why they don't want it, I don't know. But it has to be a deeper reason why penalty in place for people who commit these type of heinous acts.
Yeah.
That's my take on this whole thing. But condolences to the young lady family.
Yeah.
And this what I only could describe as a most difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
And may her soul rest in peace. And hopefully the politician will do something in memory of this woman by recognizing the unborn child as a life, so that child also can get some sort of justice and sleep in peace.
Yes, my brother. Appreciate the call. Yeah, this is a very, very sad situation. I'm coming to the next call in just a second, but I just wanted to read something based on what Cleaver was saying. Bahamian law, including historical and recent cases, has consistently treated the murder of a pregnant woman as a single homicide, even when it results in the death of the fetus. For example, in 2016, in the 2016 murder of a pregnant teacher, Alistair Williams was convicted of a woman's murder but not charged with the death of her unborn child. He was sentenced to 55 years in prison for the single homicide. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Call you live.
Yes, sir. Good day, sir.
How you doing?
I'm all right, man. You have a open line or whatever?
Well, so I'm talking about the situation with the young lady, the pregnant lady who was found brutally murdered. But it's within the context of African Holocaust Month. There's some things I want to share. But go ahead and speak on whatever it is you want to talk about.
Yeah, sir. I don't know. Do you know what a grifter is? A political grifter?
A political drifter or grifter?
Grifter, Grif.
No, help me out. What does it mean?
A grifter in general is like guys that scam,
Okay.
people from money and the like.
Right, I got you.
Political grifters, they say things that they don't really mean, but they look for some monetary gains from it.
Okay.
Right. You see, I have a problem in media environments. I mean, the callers, the presenters, and saying like they drift in for capitalism. And you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's sad, man. Like they get all the airtime, callers, but when you question the system, the capitalist system, you know what I mean, and when you advocate for the poor and like things like livable wage and the like, and you know what I'm saying, they and then what they do is they castigate the poor. And they let the wealthy and the politicians, they let them get away. They don't castigate them.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and I feel it's time we stop. We have some people, they're very intelligent, but intelligence don't have anything to do with like if you Google the word political grifting right now, people like Mary Yassin will come up.
Okay.
Jenkins will come up.
Mm-hmm.
Jenkins will come up, right? People will come up, but you will never see a guy. Richard Wolff wouldn't come up. Even Steve Sachs wouldn't come up. You see? Because at the top, these people talk about the economics and they talk about issues. Issues without being afraid to say what is what. Do you have people in this country, they grifting just to keep a visa?
Yeah.
You see? Like for instance, right now in U.S., the UK, in the UK right now, for the last 4 days, what all the shows talk about?
What?
The king's brother,
Yeah.
And his with this Epstein scandal and thing, and one of his victims just wrote a book or released a book just this week or something.
Yeah.
And these things is on Associated Press,
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's on Associated Press, but how come when we play the Associated Press, we don't cover it?
Well, that's a big part of why I talk about African Holocaust Month today.
Right.
Yeah.
See, it's about time we stop grifting. Okay, watch this now. we look at what happened with this week with our minister. He talk about the U.S. and how much power they get and the like. But but when the Caribbean nations talk about us being the Union talk about us being a safe jurisdiction in the Caribbean or not safe or peaceful, he don't he don't even want to go with that. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, brother.
Come on, man. We got to do right. We got to stand up, We got to stand up in this country. And we love to talk about we independent, and our Minister of National Security is going to tell us we're not. Address that first, please, man. And, don't talk about, we need to be independent. We need to stand up.
I agree with you, and we can deal with independence of thinking today. So thank you so much for that call. Dr. Amos Wilson, a very wise elder, now an ancestor, Dr. Amos Wilson, he viewed society as sick because its prevailing structures, particularly those rooted in Eurocentrism and white supremacy, inflict psychological and social damage upon black people. See, all day. You can become apathetic as much as you want. But unless you understand the root of what you're dealing with, you can just run in circles. Neely Fuller Jr. would always say, he just passed this year, February 1st of this year. He was 90 plus years old. And he said, if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, what it is, and how it functions, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. And so Dr. Amos Wilson, he viewed the society as being sick. So we seeing these murders, we seeing the crime, we seeing the political grifting, as one of the callers just said, the last caller just said, and we keep focusing on the individuals. But how about we just turn the magnifying glass and just look at the society for a second, the systems for a second. When we say racism, white supremacy, people think, oh, well, that's racist, and do you hate white people? That's not what we're talking about. Let's unpack that for a second. The language we speak right now, this English language, this is a white man's language. This is the supreme language in this country, English. The religions that we follow, white man religion, Anglican, Catholic, Baptist. Okay, these are the remnants of colonization and slavery. The economics of this country pegged to the white man. The U.S. dollar literally has white men on it. Literally has white men on it. Call them dead presidents. The social views of this country is guided by the lens of the Western world, the European society, the so-called white man. We could go on and on and on. So when you see the behavior of your people in your country going outside of the norms of the common sense of yesteryear, you got to try to figure out what is in this society that is dictating this behavior. What is it that we're digesting? Right? Dr. Amos Wilson would say in his analysis of this psychological and social damage upon black people, his analysis centered on the mechanisms of oppression that manipulate consciousness and distort identity. Our nose too big, our hair too so-called kinky, our skin too dark. We could go on and on, leading to self-destructive behavior within black communities that ultimately serve the interests of the dominant power structure. See, every time a body turns up in the bush, every time there's another murder, that's money. That's money. That's embalming fluid that got to be sold. That's coffins that got to be sold. Huh? That got to be paid. That's a hearse that got to be paid. That's the systems that we in. Let's run to the phone lines. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259 in the family of violence, 242-300-5720. Call you live.
Hey, good afternoon, Uncle.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Well, you're right on point, Uncle. Those systems, those systems, unfortunately, was allowed to be engraved in our psyche. Because imagine this: when the white men were running the country, the black men were more unified amongst themselves, right? And then when the black men started to run the country, they went out of their way to divide them for control.
Well, see, you have to understand that the so-called leaders, or the people who appear to be leading, part of the oath that they take is you cannot go back and help your people.
Correct.
You understand?
So based on that, right? You were on point again. I agree with you because that's what I've been saying all for a long time. But I believe, right, with a governance, because with the proper governance, right, with is no longer part of that colonial ideology, right? I believe that could begin to correct some of the ills in this country, because like you indicated, a lot of these things are pegged, especially crime, right? The effect of crime could trickle down to so much different businesses that is unbelievable.
Yes, it's a business.
Right? So and then we in a crime infested nation, we keep being deceived by so-called criminal lawyers, right? What it appears that once these criminal lawyers in place, the crime it just escalate. So I believe governance is what we need. We need a paradigm shift in the way we do things. And I do agree that the colonial mindset needs to be trickled down to the point that it that is minute, because we have people riding around on streets that they don't they know the names, and because it sounds like their cousin name, like for instance, like they say Farrington or Bernard or Shirley or and they don't know the name, they don't know the history behind these names, right? But because we are colonized names, we just been allowed to absorb because there's no teaching, there's no education. So the Bahamian people are people with just drifting, and wherever we buck up is where we end, as far as I could see, Uncle. Have a nice day.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that perspective. I do think we need a better governance. I think that better governance hinges, however, on what I would call, what the Holy Coptic Church would call a true religious identity. How do we see ourselves in divinity? We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. I got some texts coming through. I got some people are holding. We're going to run to the phone lines and the text when we get back. Keep it locked here on Guardian Radio today.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival, where world-class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable celebration featuring culinary legends Marcus Samuelson, Dario Cicchini, Simeon Hall Jr., and Scott Conant, alongside a vibrant lineup of chefs and mixology installations, interactive workshops, and live performances. all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. From curated tasting events to beachfront feasts and immersive gallery experiences, this is more than a festival. It's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit Bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Arts Festival at Bahamar, where taste and talent take center stage.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And we're back here on the October 22nd edition of Guardian Radio Today. My name is Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. We're talking African Holocaust Month. As we talk about the death of Lauren Saunders, pregnant mother of two, who died untimely. Good afternoon. I don't know why people are outraged. This is not the first, and it certainly won't be the last. Almost every day, young and old Bahamian men and women are being slaughtered on the streets, and this government in particular, whom happens to have one of the brightest legal minds in the country, is paralyzed when it comes to fixing these horrific acts. Until the sentencing guidelines and bail act are revised, it's only a matter of time before the next murder. Dexter, I pray that we don't collectively have your mindset, because we should have outrage anytime it happens until it stops happening. Because if we get to the point where we're saying it's just another murder, then unfortunately we taking on the mindset of these murderers. Before the end of the 612, this idea of not fighting against flesh and blood, but fighting against principalities and powers. We can talk about that, because we don't have a full understanding of what this verse is really talking about and how this is affecting us today. Let's run back to the phone lines here. Guardian Radio Today, you're live.
Yeah, hello.
How you doing, sir?
Radio man. Listen, we ain't got no hanging here in the Bahamas. A matter of fact, in the Caribbean. And you know why is that, right?
Why?
The PV Council. That's our final court of appeal.
But didn't they leave the ball in our hands? And they say, y'all go...
No, man.
They
remember they come back and they say the waste is the waste?
That's what I'm saying, but we got to define it.
Yeah, but we get that. Don't care how you define it, and then you go before them. It could be the same thing. See, they only say that right so. We have... you see anybody get hanged in the Caribbean recently?
I haven't heard of any.
Okay. So once we got the PV Council as our final court of appeal, I planned with the gentleman who called, or the Duncan who called. Yeah, that's why I prompted me to call. Long as the PV Council is our final court of appeal, ain't no hanging gonna happen. Now, the Bahamas Court of Appeal is if that been the final sub, then we would have hanging. But long as we have the PV Council, and we don't want to get rid of the PV Council, because these have these big financial cases. And so we don't trust our own Court of Appeal to deal with the financial cases. And so we trust the PV Council. And it's them who stop the hanging, when they say the waste is the waste. And we pay money to the Caribbean Court. And they, we don't go to them for nothing. So, that's what's going to be the problem. So they could go ahead and debate, and if they go say change the Constitution, then the PV Council get rid of us, then that may be the only way. But long as it's the way it is, ain't nothing happening, bro.
I hear you, my brother.
Take care.
Take care. Yeah, I think definitely if things stay the way that they are, we'll just keep kicking the can down the road.
That's our final court of appeal.
Yeah.
And they don't want no hanging.
Yeah, I got you.
The last hanging done, and there's nobody hanged. That was 2000. That was the last time we did a hanging.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody who their sentence, they had to remove the sentence because the people, remember they say the waste is a waste or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I said, they don't hang nobody over there. In Britain, they don't hang nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunate, that's what's happening. That's it. That's the final court of appeal.
No, I hear you. Thanks for the call. My ultimate stance is not that hanging is going to solve the issue. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it may be a part of the formula. You know what I'm saying? But like Cleaver Duncan was saying, the way things are set up right now is not necessarily the most ideal way. And so we would have to look at a lot of different things before we decide, okay, now we can begin to bring people to the gallows again. You understand? Let's run back to the phone lines, and then we'll go to the texters. Call you live.
Good afternoon, thank you.
How you doing, man?
Ain't nobody getting the gal. Forget about that. You know mine.
I already said that ain't that's only one part of the formula. What else we can do? What can we control?
Well, first of all, we can make sympathy and condolence to the family.
Yeah.
I let them know that we're praying for them, and life is full of mystery. At the same time, life is full of enjoyment and great joy of your loved one, what they have done in the moment, how you have unified and get together with them during the past. That's the best way to overcome grief. Remember the past, remember what you have done together. And don't forget the good they have done among the family. You understand what I'm saying? Hello?
I'm with you.
Yeah, don't never forget that.
Yeah.
But what I want to deal is, are you at open line, you say, right?
It's an open line surrounding the issue of the death of this young lady. But go ahead.
Are you breaking on the issue, what?
The death of this young lady.
Oh, okay, that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
How are you? Most people don't want to go in depth with it because of the situation now. But what angle you going with the depth of? Since a lot of callers don't want to deal with it.
Well, we're talking about. I'm bringing it up within the context of African Holocaust Month. October is African Holocaust Month, and a lot of the ills that we see in our society today stems out of the Holocaust of African people.
Are you talking about the slavery?
Not just slavery, right? Because slavery was one aspect of our Holocaust. The Holocaust continues today because of the systems that are now in place. You understand? And
because of my ignorance, I never heard about the African Holocaust.
I know, and that's a part of the Holocaust, the ignorance.
Right, I know. And ego doesn't make you
not your ignorance. I'm saying our ignorance, not just you, all of us. You understand?
Well, I only know about the Holocaust of the Jews.
Of course, because that's
European, called the European Holocaust.
Right, but let me share something with you that you may not have heard about before. In 1904 to 1908, there was an African. So the Jews had their Holocaust in the 1940s, World War II. This is before the Jews' Holocaust, right? In the 1904 to 1908 African Holocaust refers to the genocide committed by German colonial forces against the Herero and Nama people in German Southwest Africa, present-day Namibia. Okay, this was a colony of Germany. It is considered the first genocide of the 20th century. Right? They don't talk about this. They don't want us to know about the fact that that there are other Holocausts. The Jews, we respect them, that they always make sure that people know about their Holocaust. Black people don't want to talk about our Holocaust, much less even know about it. You understand?
And
This
are
is
you
just
familiar with the Ethiopia?
right, but same group of people. You had the Germans, then you had the Italians who went into Ethiopia. Right? You had the Berlin Conference of the late 1800s, 1884, 1885, around there, where they actually cut up the whole continent. And they have Africa in some of the chaos that it's in today because of what they did in the late 1800s. You understand? That was right before they did this particular Holocaust in Namibia.
Right. There's a black president. I don't remember the African state.
Ibrahim Traore. That's the one you're talking about?
Make sure you show me on the same link.
Burkina Faso?
He's one who, it's a bit more, it's more in our century.
Okay.
He killed a lot of tourists and white people.
Oh, you're talking about the narrative of what they give you of the president of Uganda, Idi Amin?
Yeah, Idi Amin. Mm-hmm. You familiar with that, right?
I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with both aspects. I'm familiar with what the West says about him, and I'm familiar with
But you don't consider that destroying, like how the Jew destroyed, as a type of Holocaust.
He was home in his land. He was dealing with invaders. I'm not going to get into the whole specifics of it, but I'm just telling you that there's a narrative that they put out there about him. But if you go and actually do the research in Uganda and talk to the people, he was not the monster that they made him to be. In all instances, I'm not saying he was perfect, but the West always gives us a poor narrative of our leaders. Because we're made to see the slave masters as great leaders in America and Europe and around the world. But these people owned people like they do a car today.
Right.
But they're on the money.
Right.
That we're spending.
Right.
You understand?
Someone asked a question when you was calling in. They didn't go in depth into it.
Mm-hmm.
How you could solve some of the problems. You don't really want to solve problems, because one of the major problems is New Providence is you need to downsize to local government. Local government would empower the people. The people will have more control of their community. And I honestly believe you'll see a drastic fall into not just murder, any crime. Crime in general, into local government. You'll see high development in economics and economy. More entrepreneur would exist in the local government, and more unity and more village. You remember, I grew up in what I call a village. In Strong Valley, everybody was neighbor, everybody give. Could go any neighbor and boy sugar.
Community.
Share one another food.
Community, yeah.
Local government will bring that back.
Okay.
It still exists in the Family Island. I mean,
it does.
You go to the Family Island. I go to Lutra, I go to Andrews. I don't have to worry about food.
Right.
I don't have to worry about nothing. I mean, it has bring it to me.
Right.
Anything you want, fresh water and everything.
I agree. I think local government is a part of the answer. I think it's one of the prongs. I think it would help us to be more engaged in the whole process of what government is and what we mean to the government. So I definitely think that would be something that could assist us, especially, in Nassau. We have it in the Family Islands, but we need it more in Nassau. But we know that the powers that be, at the end of the day, they going to hold the money. That's that's what it's about. That's why they call it the capital city. That's where the currency runs through here. So thank you very much for your thoughts. Texter says, please explain you cannot go back and help your people. Okay, earlier I was talking about the fact that many successful black people are not able to actually go back and help their people, right? So I'm going to give you some examples of people. I think one of the most recent ones that we could think back to in our time is Colin Kaepernick, the police brutality when he was kneeling for the national anthem, and he basically, and I think he jammed himself up down the road as far as getting back into the NFL, but he was basically blackballed, as they refer to it as, and not allowed. No team picked him up because he was speaking about racial injustice, right? Back in the day, you had people like Paul Robeson, right? He was a prominent actor, a singer, but he was also an activist, right? He was blacklisted and he was what's the word they use? Surveilled by the FBI for refusing to remain silent on racial injustice and American foreign policy, right? Lena Horne, the same thing, right? She was blacklisted in the 1950s after being labeled a communist sympathizer. Nina Simone, a singer, a songwriter, a civil rights activist. Simone was blacklisted by the music industry in the 1960s. Muhammad Ali, right? Boxing champion, stripped of his heavyweight title and banned for boxing for over 3 years after he refused to be inducted into the U.S. Army in 1967. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, basketball player, NBA player. We could go on and on. Once you get to a certain place and you start talking about the black issues, they find a way to blacklist you. You understand? We got to run to the news, and we're going to be back and talk more about African Holocaust Month, and of course continue to lift the name of Lauren Sanders, who was brutally murdered. Keep it locked here on Guardian Radio today. Back after this.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back on Guardian Radio today with your host, Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. We're talking African Holocaust Month. We're lifting up the name of Lauren Sanders, who it hasn't been officially confirmed, but the body that was found recently may be her body. And in any event, we're lifting up her name and we are keeping her family in prayer. Good day, Uncle. I am thinking it's a conspiracy against all black developing countries, the powerful white countries that control the media and the economics of most of the world. They want black countries to be crime-ridden, so they put in place a system that our leadership can't or wouldn't change. It's not a conspiracy. It's a global system of racism, white supremacy. It's very, very, very clear, right? Even biblically, right? When you look at Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, right? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, right? These principalities, arche in the Greek, right? The beginning, the origin, the person or thing that commences, the first person or thing in a series, the leader, that by which anything begins to be. We're living in their system, so they are the first. Every time they talk about the first to do this and the first to do that, they put themselves in the conversation, right? It says the principalities, and then it talks about the powers, right? Exousia. This word exousia means the power of choice, liberty of doing as one pleases. That's why we could kill people and rape people and shoot up people and do what we feel like doing. This is the power we up against, the power of choice, liberty of doing as one pleases, right? Then it goes on to talk about, right, principalities. It talks about powers, right, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness. The rulers. Who are these rulers? Right? Kosmokrator in the Greek. Right? Lord of the world, prince of this age, the devil and his demons. Well, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4 says Satan is the god of this world. Isaiah chapter 29, verses 9 and 10 says the Lord will put a deep sleep upon the people. What kind of Lord would do that other than Satan? Right? It goes on, and we'll run back to the phone lines, right? Right? The rulers of darkness. What type of darkness? What is this word darkness? Skotos. The ruler of ignorance of ignorance respecting divine things and human duties, and the accompanying ungodliness and the immorality together with their consequent misery and hell. Okay, so this idea of ignorance, denial, fear and denial gives birth to racism, white supremacy. This is biblical. This ain't just me talking out of my head. It's not a conspiracy. It's something that's been here with us for thousands of years, right? And so if we're not prepared to actually understand what this means spiritually, then we're going to keep fighting the symptoms and not get to the actual cause. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and in the family of islands, 242-300-5720. Caller, you're live.
Hi.
How you doing?
Michael?
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make a contribution, and the contribution that I wanted to make is, and I'm listening to you talking about the African Holocaust, but I'm thinking, like, this is a spiritual war that we're fighting.
Yeah, that's what I just said, yeah.
We don't realize that when we do certain things, we invite certain spirits to operate.
Correct.
And even as simple as the LGBTQ marching, you know, the things that we now look at as being acceptable, things that we just say, oh, let them do what they want to do, and things of that nature. This is what brings in these different... And when they come in groups, in groupings.
Legion, they call it. Legion, yes.
So, and people don't realize that they're not connecting the dots. See, we're looking at the physical things that happened, and God forbid, it is so sad what happened. We're looking at the lady was killed and she was pregnant, but we have to look at the spiritual aspect of it. And the Bahamas has moved away from the things of God, right? They've moved in a different direction.
Yeah.
We are accepting any and everything.
Yep.
And when we have a situation where our PM is a 33rd degree Mason, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what's all these things that are going on? But these are spiritual things, and if we don't connect the dots and try to address them from that angle, we will always see these things happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, to add to what the caller is saying, we also accept Greco-Roman interpretations of our true religious identity. I was watching I think it was the Anglican Synod a few nights ago. I think it might have been Monday night. And I smiled because as I watched it, the whole thing is African, right? The mitre that the bishop is wearing was originally called a fichette. The actual staff that he's holding was called the crook. He's sitting under a canopy, which if you just Google the judgment scene of Osiris, you will see that in the Anglican Church on that relief of Osiris. Now, am I saying that because it's African is bad? No, I'm saying it originally was African. But they stole your true religious identity, bleached it, watered it down, and now instead of praying to the Most High, we're praying to the Lord of this world, who the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4 says is Satan. This ain't me saying it. The book of Exodus chapter 3, verses 14 and 15, the Most High is saying, my name is I Am. Not God, not Jehovah, not Yahweh, not Allah. I am. That word ani in the Shemitic languages. Ane, Anuki, Anere. So if we don't get serious about language and understanding what it is that we're saying and what we're praying to, we're calling these curses upon ourselves. Caller, you live here on Guardian Radio today.
Dr. Cleveland.
How you doing?
Thank God for life as usual.
Yes, sir.
Sure. So you still teaching too?
I'm not in the school right now. No, I'm just a church.
And you don't do tutoring and stuff, right?
Yeah. I still do that.
Privately, you come to people home, or they have to come to you?
Just Zoom. Normally on Zoom.
Okay, on Zoom. Okay, and you can get some benefits so that the people who you tutoring they successful.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we gotta get your number.
Yeah, 426.
You have to hear your number or your business place so we could call and check it out.
Yeah.
So that thing with you and Pumpkin talking about Idi Amin, I think that's, I'm not sure if that's how to pronounce it.
He brought up the example of Idi Amin.
Okay, when I could have seen I Get Blind in 89, right? It was my sight in 89.
Okay.
I watched a movie before where they're talking about him. I know movies sometimes don't tell the whole truth, but I was wondering, this is the same man who they say cut off people's head, not in the deep freeze, and they lie on him?
Listen.
I got to ask you, you should know, and I listen to what
Let
you say.
me give you an example of another situation in Africa when they had the civil war in Liberia, right? And the United States or Western forces were going to come into Liberia to, basically enforce their will on the people. What they did was they played on the stereotypes of the people who were coming in, and they had an animal that had been killed. They took the intestines of the animal, they put it on a person who had also been killed, and then they put a video out to say that they were eating people. So, I can't wait for you all to come in here so I could eat you too.
Oh, boy.
Right? I know this because I know people who was in the war.
And that was a lie.
Well, we play upon this. They say that we eat people, but we know if you look up the people like Jeffrey Dahmer, and there's a whole list of cannibals who don't look like me and you, right? We know who was eating who first. But the point of the matter is they have constantly painted third world countries or African nations as backwards and undeveloped, knowing, like the book Chancellor Williams is a man by the name of Chancellor Williams.
People, black people.
Well, we're still running their hospitals today. We're still in NASA today. Just look up blacks in NASA. Look up how many. Look at the doctors in their hospitals out of Nigeria and Ghana, right?
Smart people.
We have always listened to their narrative, and we've always had a sense of self-hate about ourselves. This is why I bring up names like Dr. Amos.
You mean like when you say self-hate, you mean when we bleach our skin?
Bleach your skin, when you see yourself as less than, when you attack your leaders without looking at the system that the leaders have to work with before you attack the leaders, right? That's self-hate. You understand?
You mean attacking them unnecessary? You mean when not warranted? Like, you don't mean a leader who doing foolishness?
No, if a leader doing foolishness, he doing foolishness. But the point I'm making is, in a lot of instances, you have people who go in there with good intentions, but the system is already broken.
Okay. So that man, that wasn't true what I see on the TV, and I could see he ain't do them things too. He didn't have people head in his deep freeze fridge and stuff on.
To my knowledge, no. To my knowledge,
just a movie and they lie.
So they put a lot of things in movies to present a stereotype of Africans, of Caribbeans, of Latinos, to make us seem as if we are cannibalistic and we're animalistic, and that then gives them they feel the right to go into our lands and to destroy our people, and then we sit back and say, oh yeah, well, he used to keep people head in the freezer anyway, so good for him. And that's how they run their psychological...
capital punishment. You think, like how they say that's to be a deterrent, you agree with that? You believe in it?
I think it can be done in a proper way. The way it's set up now, I can't say that I...
you mean an injection and hanging?
No. I mean, like, I know people who have been wrongly accused of murder, personally.
Okay.
Personally, okay?
So, and them said would admit it and maybe kill someone.
If you have a clear-cut case of someone who did premeditated murder, I ain't talking about you getting mad and getting in a fight. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about people who
you go and run off, get a knife, come back.
Right, like this, someone. like this person who killed this woman. Right, that's premeditated murder.
And premeditated.
I mean, you sit down, you thought about it.
Yes.
And you wait till the right time, and then you made it happen. You need to go to the gallows, or if they can do the gas chamber or lethal injection. We don't need to worry about you no more.
Okay. And first I should say condolence to this. I don't know if it's the son, his family, or the lady family who
her name is.
And I agree with that woman was saying about a spiritual war we fight.
Definitely.
Yes, I think.
But
so.
spiritual don't mean spooky.
Yeah, and like they say, it ain't the first time things like that happen, right?
No.
But yes, it's a spiritual war. How do I say it? Back in 1989, like 27 days after I got blind, a cabinet minister who sit in cabinet, right? Not a one who get fired and get an minister. They ain't fire him. They gave him another ministry, still keeping the cabinet. His brother stabbed my sister to death, no.
Wow.
Walk off, run to the boat, because he's fixed boat and stuff like that back in the days, like spray boat and clean boat and stuff. Get this big sword knife, and she run on to him and say something about his wife. Say, go find your wife, because, we break up. So,
I have to say allegedly because I don't know the facts.
Allegedly.
I have to say allegedly.
Although that's my sister who gets started there allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know now as a divorcee how it would feel when someone run on with you. You have to be strong. So with that spiritual warfare, what I talk about, I think that we need some kind of teaching or something that us men or humans, when we go through things, to try to be strong. Either go pray or something like that. Because we could get carried away and do stupidness. You understand? We could hurt people and stuff like that. I feel that for our family. When I hear someone get snuffled, although my sister wasn't pregnant, I start to remember my sister, how I go on to her, come run out of the church, back up to the wall first when they say, wait, come, your sister did. And I thought, I forget, I was blind. And I break off, went straight into one wall, bam! No, but for a couple seconds maybe. Then I get up, and then when I did go on to her, I go on the ground, because when I get blind, she was there to come and say, you could be all right, you could be all right. And I tried to do it to her. And the shirt what she's wearing was soaked. And I think it's sweat, but the people tell me that was blood. I think somebody pulled it out. Yeah, somebody, a big sword, knife, like. So we need prayers. We need to be strong when we hear things.
We got to stop worshiping other than self and kind. We got to stop worshiping our oppressors.
Worshiping oppressors.
We are worshiping our oppressors. The same people who enslaved us, we're worshiping them.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me share one last thing with you before you go, right?
Yes.
The myth of cannibalism about Idi Amin, that came from his former health minister, Henry Kiemba, in 1977. But the historians and the biographers, such as they have a biographer by the name of Mark Leopold, he stated that there's no credible evidence to support the claim, characterizing it instead as a sensational rumor.
Sound like you're reading that.
Yeah, I'm reading it. I pull it up.
Okay, that's good. I appreciate
that.
Yeah,
I pull it up.
So this health minister, he get killed after that, eh?
I don't know what happened to him.
You don't know what happened to him? He get killed.
Yeah,
I think it's a possibility, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So tell me something. What the police saying? They saying they somebody leading in, you know, like how they say they get a suspect or someone who they get.
You talking about this?
That's a female or a male who they get it from?
You mean about the lady who got killed?
Yes, sir. Are they saying they're getting some information from a female to further the investigation, or a male?
I heard a male, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so you remember Michelle, and you remember the same with the nun when the nun get killed, right?
I heard about it.
You agree that we should be hanging the women them if they kill people?
I think if he's fighting for equal rights, right?
Yes, sir. And I believe why the politicians don't push it, or people don't push, they ain't gonna push it till someone kill one of them and then their family can push it, you see?
Yeah.
Maybe if a female kill one of the members of parliament or cabinet minister or judge or something, maybe they would start doing it. But I think if you kill somebody like that, it doesn't matter if you're a female.
I agree.
If you got to put an extra pipe.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work, Uncle.
Yeah, my brother. Respect. Right. Dr. Amos Wilson talks about this. He has this view about a sex society, right? He talks about a falsification of African consciousness. He has a whole book on it. And he argues that the Eurocentric history and psychology have systematically manipulated and oppressed African people, leading to a distorted self-perception. This impoverishment of our mentality, he believed, is why a people rich in material resources can be made to seem poor and destitute. We got all the diamond, the gold, the oil on the continent, but they calling us a poor continent. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live. Caller going once. All right, they may have stepped away from the phone. Let's jump to the text line. This text says, a concerned Bahamian citizen writing with a heavy heart. I wish to speak on behalf of the young life taken. The pregnant woman, Lauren Sanders, murdered in our country. This tragedy is more than one life lost. It is a symbol of something much deeper. I agree. To our government, we call on you, this is the texter speaking, we call on you to do more than simply say investigations are quote-unquote ongoing. We need transparency. We need urgency. We need results. The public must see that those who take lives will be brought to justice. A nation cannot thrive when fear strikes at its core. To the people of the Bahamas, this is our collective responsibility. Amen. We must rise above finger pointing and demand safety for our youth, our elderly, our communities. We must reject the culture of silence that allows violence to fester. To those who choose crime, know this: you are harming. You are eroding the foundation of a nation, the trust, the hope, the future. The fear you sow today becomes the cost of tomorrow's peace. Consider this, the text says. Recent government and independent reports show a worrying trend. A travel advisory has been issued by the United States Department of State, urging visitors to, quote-unquote, exercise increased caution in the Bahamas, citing armed robberies, burglaries, and sexual assaults. Businesses tied to tourism are reporting a drop in excursions as visitors stay on board ships rather than explore our shores. Meanwhile, police statistics show murders rising, illegal firearms being seized in large quantities, and a worrying increase in attempted armed robberies. If tourism falters because visitors don't feel safe, then our economy suffers, our livelihoods, our children's prospects. Crime doesn't just threaten lives, it threatens our national future. We need a change in perception, the way we think, the language we use about safety. We must say no more. We must act, change now. We must create a Bahamas where families walk home safely, where youth see opportunity instead of fear, where the elderly live with dignity, not dread. This is our moment. Let us act together, government, citizens, communities, to reclaim safety, restore trust, rebuild our nation. Thank you very much, texter. I second that emotion. I second that text. The idea that we're going to just keep, kicking the can down the road, that got to stop. All right, next texter says, black, quote unquote, doesn't mean good, and white, quote unquote, doesn't mean bad. Well, you want to look up the definitions of those words? Let's do that for a second. Before I even finish reading your text, because obviously you don't understand what they've done to us, right? And I'm just typing it up so I can read it to you, so you don't say I'm making it up. So how the word black and white has been used in psychological warfare. That's what we're up against, right? When you talk about spiritual warfare, okay? All right. In psychological warfare, black and white describe different types of propaganda based on the source's transparency. White propaganda openly identifies its source and purpose, while black propaganda disguises its origin to discredit the enemy by creating a false impression that the source is the opposition. So white is good, black is bad, right? So white propaganda, black propaganda. Black ball, white ball. When you look up the word black, it means sinful, it means dirty. When you look up white, it means pure. All right? So let's go back to the text. All right? It's the heart, quote unquote. God had it right. The heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? Man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. So he can't judge anybody by skin color. There are good and evil, black and white people. I agree with that. I understand exactly what black is used to signify. Well, appreciate the fact that the system, the language you're speaking right now, this is not a black language, right? The education system that the children are learning in, it's a British system. That's not a black educational system. We love to talk about the average, but if you're teaching a bunch of black children in a white system, well, doesn't quite work, does it? Right? So until we're ready to have real conversations, unfortunately, we're going to keep kicking the can down the road. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live.
Brother Enos.
How you doing, sir?
How you doing, man?
I'm great, man.
Yeah, my condolences to the Sanders family.
Yes, indeed.
I know they, the question always, Why?
Yeah, why?
Sometimes we don't have the answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we use that simple word, why did this happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that everything goes well with them. And you just got to stay tuned and watch to see what is what, and whoever it is,
Mm-hmm.
they will be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard you touch on something in Ephesians,
Yeah, it's Ephesians 6:12.
spiritual wickedness.
That's right.
And you know, and what I noticed coming up next week,
Mm.
I noticed now, see, sorcery and different witches and things, they're
Yes.
doing it now through a different ways now.
Mm-hmm.
I see the night pajamas have the skeleton and the
Mm-hmm.
witches on it,
Mm-hmm.
and the people are buying it
Yeah.
to wear. See, they're introducing these, see, if they know the danger of these things
Right.
that they are bringing into themselves,
Yeah.
because, see, who making these things? The one who's not wearing these clothes their own self.
Right.
But they're making it for the people them to wear, that to know that it bring more spirit in your home, and you know, but people got to be careful.
We can talk about it next week. I can have a
Yeah.
whole show on it because people need to be aware what they call Halloween or what
Oh, yeah.
they call it Samhain. Samhain.
Okay.
Yes. it's
That
called-
sounds good.
Yeah, we can do a show on it because
Yeah.
people need to be aware of,
Yeah.
of what they bring in. Because, you want the children to have fun, and you can have fun with the children, but you don't have to
Yeah.
have it in the context of Halloween.
But what you got on, you got, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for calling, man.
Okay, bro.
Yeah, man. Let's run back to the text line. Caribbean Court of Appeal is even more opposed to hanging than the Privy Council. Okay. Business in the block is good. Please stop this. Okay. Am I the one that started it? Or is the English language responsible for making black bad? I need you to just wake up to the reality of what is happening to us. Don't let's pretend like Uncle came on the radio and made something up. You understand? So, yes, a business in the block is good. Very good. And that's where you stop with it. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Call you live.
Golly days is back here. What's wrong with you, brother, uncle?
Yes, indeed. How you doing, Elder?
I'm right here holding thank God. How are you? And the family, of course.
Everybody's well, man. I'm doing
wonderful.
well. Doing my
Give them
best.
my regards, please.
Yes.
Brother, uncle, analyzing or looking over this situation in the Bahamas, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have too many jokers in the church behind the mic and in the government gets behind the mic and want to be movie star.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to look at the ignorance and the immaturity, the poorness that are happening in these countries. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just want to put on one sharp suit and get behind the mic and talk foolishness while a lot of people looking at them as ignorant men and women because they're not trying to resolve the problem in which we are having.
Mm.
And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to fix it, but it needs to be fixed.
Mm.
And it can be fixed.
Mm.
It's like turning over a table
Mm.
with all the dishes on it.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to be done with the Bahamas in order for it to be fixed. Because we have a country of young children.
Mm.
And we just can't leave foolishness for them.
Right.
The foolishness that are happening in this country today, the ignorance, we just can't go under and leave this country in this manner for those children.
Right.
Something needs to be done, and it needs to be done soon.
Well, we gotta stop reveling in ignorance. We gotta make ourselves aware of what's actually taking place. This is why I take the time.
We are aware, but some those that's in authority doesn't really care.
Well, they benefit from the ignorance. They're not going to care.
But Uncle, you see it.
Yeah.
And it's so sad, man.
Yeah, it's $1 billion, trillion-dollar industry, ignorance.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bert.
Thank you. The word black has been demonized through its historical association with darkness and evil, a bias that was later interwoven with anti-black racism and colorism. This process is rooted in both ancient philosophical concepts and the brutal history of chattel slavery. Long before its association with skin color, the word black was tied to negative ideas based on the duality of light and darkness. For example, fear of the dark. The oldest origins of negative associations with black come from the primal human fear of the dark and the unknown. In the absence of light, people are more vulnerable, leading to the perception of darkness as a source of danger or evil. Then you have religious symbolism. Many Western religious traditions established a powerful metaphor associating white with good, light, purity, divinity, and black with evil, darkness, sin, the devil. Christian theology, for instance, depicts God creating light and contrasts it with darkness of ignorance and sin. The linguistic roots of it, the ancient Roman word for black, atur, is the root of the English word atrocity, directly linking the color to cruelty and brutality. The Latin word denigrare means to blacken, but also to defame. All right? So, and we could go on and on and on, right? This is a website talking about the psychology of the word black. All right? Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live.
Yeah, how you doing, Uncle?
Great, man.
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything you're saying, because, even with all the thing, they got the black cat as a symbol of
Come on, man.
So anything black is black.
Come on.
Evil.
And that
Right.
and that black cat actually represents one of our ancestors called Bast.
I know. But
You understand? And that cat kills the snake that
All right.
kills the devil. But go ahead.
But, Uncle, this is I laugh. But I agree with everything. This just kills me. You know why they don't have hanging here?
Mm.
It reminds the Privy Council of who they were.
Wow.
Remember, they only hang black people.
Yeah.
So that hanging, they still have on the books. The problem is the Bahamas government, they can still execute, but they won't go to lethal injection.
Mm.
That would have been the easiest way out, but they leave hanging on the books when the Privy Council done state that hanging is inhumane.
Right.
It was okay when they was hanging us,
Right.
but it ain't good for us to hang one another, so they deem it inhumane to make sure you have that crime level in your country. Watch America don't hang no more black. They go to lethal injection.
Mm-hmm.
Our country hasn't moved away from the law. If they move the word hanging and put a lethal injection, we'll have what we want from these criminals. They want to get them. The Privy Council won't even stop that. They'll go ahead with that. Look at America. Move from hanging the black man to lethal injection. We're the only one in the slave using the slave time hanging. Only cowboys and pirates and black people used to get hanged, crooks. But when you look at it, it's still on our law. We're going to reject everything for hanging. But
Right.
they put the word in lethal injection. Watch how many black men in this country will be in that for murder.
See, and that's why, again, we still have to look at how they actually execute the whole system of capital punishment. That still has to be studied. Even if they were to say, okay, y'all could go ahead and do capital punishment, we still got to be aware of how to utilize it, because we don't want it to just be another way to kill us black people.
See, but Uncle, wait, that's where you're so right. If you go and look at it, you said one thing, this is not the language that we have. So the English language should always be adjusted and move.
Come on now.
When it was gay was the main happy. Now gay means something else.
Exactly.
So they keep adjusting the word, like they say, and moving the goalposts. But it's their language. We only broke it. That's
Right.
why we only speak broken English.
My
Everything
Lord.
go Uncle.
My Lord. Great show. Another example of the colonial mindset. Our lawyers are still wearing white wigs like the British did, but the British stopped that for some time now. But we are still wearing them. Ah, boy. Let's see what this next texter says. Let me go back to the phone lines. I come with a heavy heart over the tragic death of Lauren Sanders, a young pregnant mother whose life was taken by violence. Her blood cries out like Abel's blood did in Genesis 4:10, where God said, "The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." Amen. Dexter, thank you so much. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you live. Caller going once. All right. You can call back. All right. So going back into to some of the work of Dr. Amos Wilson, right? He talks about the European psychology as a tool of oppression, right? Wilson argued that Eurocentric psychological frame European experiences and are fundamentally inappropriate and misleading when applied to black people. This is the same thing that happens in religion. This is the same thing that happens in education. This is the same thing that happens in religion. You can apply a system to a people from another people and expect it to work for the other group of people like it did for the original set of people. So if you have a education system that was designed for Europeans, you can't give that to African children and expect it to work the same way it works for European children. So this is why when they talk about I think we were talking about countries that I guess that they talk about crime or transparency. I forget the index. They had some index. We were tied at 28th with the United States, and the number one country that had the highest rate of transparency and the lowest crime, etc., was Denmark. Well, when you have systems in place for your people, then it will work for your people. But if you're using the same systems that work in Denmark and you say, oh, we can use that in the Bahamas because it works in Denmark. Well, the people in Denmark and the people in the Bahamas ain't the same people. You understand? So this is another form of European psychology as a tool for oppression. So why would we have the thought to even kill a black woman? Because I don't know who killed her yet. But we can wait to see who did. And in many instances, we're finding out that the black people killing black people. But why? What are we doing? We're literally digesting aspects of racial racism, white supremacy, and acting out. And I'm not saying we're not responsible for our crimes. Don't mishear what I'm saying. I'm not saying people blame the white man. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a system at work that we better be aware of. You understand? I challenge you to find me one gun named after a black man. That's your homework. Go find one gun named after a black man. They got more guns in America than people. And them same guns ending up on our streets. But we don't look at that. We just want to blame the black man. But the black man ain't making the guns. Black man ain't making the bullets. Right? Dr. Amos Wilson talks about, we see you, caller, just waiting for the producer, right? Inequality is a low aspiration. Wilson considered the goal of achieving equality with a white-led society to be a low aspiration. Why you want to be equal with people whose societies have never reached what you already accomplished? Why you want to be equal to that? You should have equal opportunity. We agree with that. But why would you want to be equal to people who've never reached what you've reached before? It's just a matter of taking the time to read and study. Let's run back to the phone. Oh, sorry. I call her left, right? He argued that doing so would mean adopting and replicating the very behaviors and systems that have created a world of misery. We keep replicating, we keep adopting behaviors and systems that have created a world of misery. This is why we're suffering. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you're live.
Yes, I'm alive. What's going on, Uncle Sarah?
Yes, 52, everything's set.
Give thanks, sometimes I don't pray as much, but I know I give thanks.
For sure.
And so, there was a black gunsmith, very infamous. I can't remember his name, but he had gifted 2 pistols, I think, to the King of England at the time, and he refused it because he was black, but
he didn't want the black gun.
The origin of the DNA Symposium from South Africa, in which shows that it's climate biology. Everybody came out of the black man, right? And we see the phenotypical features, et cetera, but as it relates to what believe you me, there's an agenda to create a whole geopolitical upheaval throughout the various nations. And so I realize that then the Bible said nations against nations, right? It's really, we are seeing it today, but how come we can't conceive what's going on? So
because we
that's
sleep.
What's joyful for me. And so when we look at the seeds of Abraham and the schisms that created, and we run with whatever Martha gave us, right? I said just a few days ago, and I was saying on the radio, that conformity will be the death of mankind. And just most people, they're not able to see this, Uncle. And so these situations that miscegenation and getting rid of the dark seed, they've been around from the missionary periods in which I saw a depiction from some Mosaic art from about 20-something years ago in which they caught it's depicted where the black man is caught in bed with I think it's a Spanish, I can't remember which country, with a white queen from maybe, it was Europe, of course, and the crowd surrounded him, and then they separate them, and then they burn the black man at the stake. And they're celebrating it. This is a depiction. I could easily pick it up because I learned it from Asher Kwesi.
Okay.
And now, as it relates to this blackness, we know, though your sins be as scarlet, they should be as white as snow. Black Friday, black magic, black budget, whatever we could go on with. I could go on and on. I don't want to go on too long, but the term what hurts me is the most, I remember this from Latin, Angus Day, right? Which means Lamb of God, but when I go in the States and the restaurant Angus, I would see a cow. So I know Angus would be cow. So which is it, lamb or cow? Because the question is how this is referred to as Yeshua. Jesus Christ, they refer to Jesus Christ as Lamb of God. So in learning Latin in St. John's, it was Angus Day. But Angus is actually a cow or is a lamb. Which is it? So I mean, the blackness had to be hidden. Right. Carbon is black, right, Anku?
That's correct.
And we are carbonated people. So when you look at the scriptures, there's no need. This is why I feel they was telling us don't pay attention to the Old Testament, because you cannot juxtapose, you cannot do without blackness or Africanness in the Old Testament. So they say, don't pay attention to that. So I give up, man. I can live up. Give thanks.
Yes, indeed. Angus is a breed of cattle, not lamb. The term is used to describe the type of cow and the high-quality beef that comes from it. So you're right, 52. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Call you live.
Yeah, I'm cool.
How you doing, brother?
I hate to call back, but I had to call in.
No problem.
I'm happy with, Denmark, because Denmark is the complete opposite of the Bahamas.
Right.
For example, 90% of their population are atheists. And then you get 90% of their population were born out of wedlock.
But now, go. I can let you finish and I'll add something. Go ahead.
But the point is, they have one of the best educational systems in the world. They have more child-friendly legislation. See, the thing is, when you look at the black community, it's no secret as to what is really going on. Many of their homes are fatherless. They are poorly socialized. It used to be our boys, but now we have our girls. Child abuse is very prevalent throughout our community, and 80% of all prison inmates throughout the U.S. were abused at some point in time as a child.
Yeah.
We've been averaging over 500 reported cases of child abuse annually for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to want to address it. I mean, I don't know where these leaders come from, who call themselves leaders, right? Or these people who are vying for public office. But Anku, I know you put a lot of time into researching to present these type of high-level discussion shows that you do. Many other talk shows do the same. But do you realize that over the next several weeks and months, all of this will get lost in the rubble,
Well, we know the politics.
It's going to get lost. We don't believe in public live debate. We elect persons to the highest office in the land, highest elected office in the land, from rallies, cracking jokes.
Yep.
Some of them can't even, we find out that they can't count after we vote for them.
My Lord.
We find out they don't have common sense and intelligence after we vote for them. We look at the laws that they pass on the books. Why can't we have, you have a mic in your hand. Why can't talk show hosts come together and host these? And I'm not talking about no leadership debate. I'm talking about all candidates who are vying for a particular constituency. Let them assemble and let them debate among each other.
Yeah.
Let's see whether they have common sense and intelligence before we vote for them. But we elect these clowns from rallies, cracking jokes, and all of our issues that concern us most.
Yeah.
They will be gone and lost in the rubble when these big rallies start to take place, and we stand up with rum in our hand, getting drunk while they crack joke on us.
Right.
It's just a sad indictment. We have too much educated people in this Bahamas for us not to have political live debate.
I agree, my brother. We got to run to a break.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother. Well, we got to keep calling for it. They coming around campaigning. Ask them when they can debate. When they come to your door, ask them when they can debate. We're going to run to this break here on Guardian Radio today and be back after this.
This October, Bahama invites you to indulge your senses at the Culinary and Arts Festival, where world-class flavors meet breathtaking creativity in the heart of the Bahamas. Join us October 22nd through 26th for an unforgettable set of culinary legends Daniel Boulud, Marcus Samuelson, Dario Cicchini, and Simeon Hall Jr., alongside a vibrant lineup of Bahamian chefs and mixologists. Explore captivating art installations, interactive workshops, and live performances, all set against the stunning backdrop of Nassau's premier luxury resort. And don't miss an electrifying live performance by global superstar Lenny Kravitz, headlining the festival's welcome party on Friday, October 24th, with a concert experience you won't forget. This is more than a festival, it's a feast for the soul. Tickets and packages are going fast. Visit bahamar.com to reserve your spot at the Culinary and Arts Festival at Bahamar, where taste and talent take center stage. Bahamar, life spectacular.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Guardian Radio Today with your host, Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Just some facts on Denmark, and then we're going to go back to the phone lines. Christianity is the official state religion. The vast majority of Danes, over 70%, are members of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Denmark, also known as Folkekirken. The secular society, while most Danes are members of the state church, many are not actively religious. That's what Brother was just saying just now on the last call. Denmark is a highly secular country where faith is often considered a private matter. There is a modern revival. The current practice of Nordic paganism is a modern revival rather than a direct continuation of the beliefs of the Vikings, as it is based on reinterpreting old sources. But those old sources were used to whitewash Christianity as we know it today. Even the names of the week and the different things that we're saying every day, the months, etc., go back to their folklore, their Nordic origins. Let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio Today. Call you live.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you doing?
What do you say, brother?
Everything all right, brother? Everything all right?
Yeah, man, I good.
Just listening quickly. I say some African Holocaust. I listened in a bit. I didn't hear you mention Leopold from Belgium and what he did in the Congo.
Man. Tell us, because I didn't get to him yet. But go ahead.
Unbelievable. I heard they say he murdered 100 million Africans.
Exactly. Way more than the Jewish Holocaust.
Yeah, so they need to look up Leopold from Belgium or whatever the place was.
Yeah.
And Idi Amin, as far as Idi Amin is concerned, I respect that man because what he was doing, he was trying to kick out certain
exactly.
foreigners so his people could benefit from the system. He was saying that, foreigners shouldn't be inside Uganda, sucking off and benefiting off the Ugandan economy more than Ugandans themselves. So he wanted them out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He was running them. I agree with that.
Yep.
And one two quick things to Anku. Martin Luther King said, either we live like, and if it takes us to accept the truth and do the right thing for us to be free and to get the good life we deserve, and we can't do that, then we deserve to suffer, then we win the prize of a loser.
Yes. I like
that. Simple as that. You know what I mean? If people won't be stiff-necked and don't want to listen to the truth, even though they see things going on, that's too bad. We just got to be the loser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we don't meet the requirements, you see.
Yeah.
But the thing about it too, Anku, is that the problem I see too is that because only the truth can set us free. But the problem in our society is that, and when you was talking about Anku, but the leaders, they are like more or less don't blame them too much because they only inherited the system or whatever. But if I was to get elected and I didn't know the system is like that, when I get in and I see how the system run, because I know within myself the decisions I'm making ain't benefit my people. You think I can run again next year? So I got to like it. You understand? I gotta like it.
Yeah.
You understand where I come from, right? So you can't blame them because they know right from wrong, man. That's big grown men and women. Most of them are intelligent professionals, right?
Mhm.
But the problem, too, Uncle, is that we as a society, right, we depend on religious and political leaders, right?
Mhm.
Hoping and thinking that they're going to make the best decisions in our best interest or tell us the truth, right? But see, if the truth, Uncle, threatens their position in society and their livelihood, right?
Mhm.
Then the same ones who you depend on to tell you the truth or spread you will hide it from you and fight the truth because they want to protect their position rather than give you the truth.
Truth. Mhm.
You understand where I come from, right? And that's a dangerous game, you see. That's a very, very dangerous game, my brother. And the last thing I say is, this is the last thing I say. I agree with Free Thinker. A couple of times I hear Free Thinker call the radio stations, and Free Thinker was complaining more or less about the quality of the radio show. And just now, too, I think you said that, we're not having the discussions we need to have.
Right.
So if we're not going to have the discussions we need to have, we'll never get where we're going talking about the same nonsense every day, you know what I mean? And that's why I kind of cut back on calling the talk show, man, because the conversations are kind of like wanting. But I don't know if you ever tried TikTok. Maybe on TikTok sometimes having conversations with persons all over the world, deeper conversation, and it's a fairer platform where you could, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Them and, the kind of way. But TikTok is a very good platform to have debates on. That's why I spend a lot of my time to debate
Okay.
people online.
I'll check it out.
Having conversations online as opposed to these little conversations would really go nowhere. The same thing over and over again. It's like this cycle of confusion and insanity.
Yeah.
But all the best, my brother, and good show, man. Have a good day, Uncle.
You too,
All the
brother.
best,
Thanks for calling, man. Texas says, I really appreciate you and your knowledge. How do you feel about using the King James Bible versus the Ethiopian Bible? The King James Bible is used as a tool to teach because that's where most people are at, versus the Ethiopian Bible, whereby most people are unaware of it. And then there are books in the Ethiopian Bible that are not in the King James. So the Ethiopian Bible, study it, learn it, but it's going to be difficult to teach from that based on where people are at. But you got to meet the people where they are at. All right, let's run back to the phone lines here on Guardian Radio today. Caller, you're live.
Hey, Uncle, good afternoon.
How you doing, sir?
I love the commentary of the previous caller.
Yes.
Let's put the facts on the table.
Please.
As many of us out here see them.
Yes.
First and foremost, we all can say that systems that this country is still operating under is almost likened to pre-1967. What we have found is many persons may have entered Parliament with a good heart to change things.
Right.
But because the older crew in the Parliament who have found ways to carve their niches, to get the systems to benefit them in many ways, they indoctrinate these same persons with a good heart to ignore the purpose of why they really went into Parliament and follow the ways that they are doing. This is why our systems are so corrupt. Because,
right.
Okay, the second thing with this whole thing is that, while in opposition, and I will continue to say it, the opposition will then continue to talk about the things that is not right for the Bahamas and the Bahamian people. But yet, when they get in, they do absolutely nothing, hardly nothing, to dismantle the ills of the systems that makes us or have the country in the nature that it's in. And that's what I find quite amazing.
Right.
Because while in opposition, you're talking about these things, but when you get in, you change nothing.
Right.
And this is quite evident between the Ingram administration, the Christie administration, and now today the Davis administration.
Yeah.
The Bahamian people have been crying about these systems that seems to be still lacking to move the Bahamian people in prosperity forward, upward, and onward, especially financially. But yet we only hear still, as one of our former politicians refer to us as nothing but pawns, as it suits them at the particular time when they're in power. But, it's sad to say this. The Bahamian people are not ignorant.
No.
We are well aware of what's going on, but because of the political juice that many of them have drunken, they got drunk. They don't care whether the country is going forward or backward, as long as they get their trinkets, as long as they continue to support the party that is doing the ills against the country, not in our best interest. And this is where we find ourselves. We call it willful ignorance. They're not ignorant. They are fully aware. But they choose to follow the nonsense.
Yes. Yes.
The last part in this whole ordeal is those persons whose eyes have been opened to the abuses that the Bahamian people in masses is going through. But you know, these ones who are drunk in that juice rather beat these persons down to a pulp or to defend the party that they are part of and the personality that's in the party. When are we going to exercise the power that we have in our hands to move this country forward? Not depending on the 38 or 39 that sits in our parliament, but depend on the power of the people out here who really have the real power. When are we going to utilize that power to move this country forward, upward, onward, together?
Amen.
That's my commentary for today.
Amen.
Thanks for taking my call.
You're very welcome. You know, I always joke about governments. I say if governments could rule in opposition, the country would be a much better place. You know what I'm saying? Someone's asking where they can get a copy of the Ethiopian Bible from. I think you can check it online. I know I was able to pull a copy up online, but I can't say off the top of my head. But check online and see if you can get a copy there. This show, again, has been in memory of Lauren Saunders. We pray for her family, and we pray her soul rest in peace. And we pray that justice is served for whoever did do this horrific crime. Again, my name is Dr. Cleveland W. Enius III, also known as Kahun Anku Sarah. This has been Guardian Radio today on 96.9 Guardian Radio. Fresh news, smart talk, all day in the Mastu family.